Hello, beautiful people. How are you today? I am Zakaos. It is April 12th, 2013. A lot of crazy things happening in the world as we spin. We have a president that's protecting a company that is well known to poison our food, according to France and Canada, who banned this company. The company's name is Santos. Wars were running rampant all over the Middle East. Korea is threatening to attack America. And it seems sometimes we're on the verge of World War III. So I'm going to take the time to talk about a subject that I know thoroughly, that I actually haven't made a video about in a very long time, and which it's the subject which started me making these videos. To give you some history, and you can go back to my YouTube channel and look at my first video and see what it's actually about. It's about the female cartel. It's about what I learned and what happened to me in Romania. I'll basically recap my life and get into some painful things for me, but due to recent events in my life, I just think it needs to be done because nobody actually covers this subject. I mean, I see posts every once in a while and people talking about it, but for the real people that are actually in the grit and the dirt and that have actually lost someone due to the female cartel and exportation of someone you love or family member, there's not really much that you can find coming from these people, because it's a very hard subject. It's a very touchy subject. So let me start by saying that I went over to Romania because things actually in my family were not great. They were actually pretty bad. I had a stepbrother, still do, that's a dirty cop. Deals drugs, very famous in Houston, Texas. Does security for all of the so-called black entertainers. Also a Marine and a sheriff, and also is part of black operations programs. My mother married his stepfather, who's dead. He died this year. I never liked him. Nobody in the family ever liked him. I never trusted him. I just really suspect these people came into my life because of government officials and because of what my father did and who he worked for and what they did to him and who I grew up with and who I grew up around. So anyway, this isn't about them. I just wanted to give you some background on how I grew up and what I grew up in. I grew up in the dance music scene. I grew up throwing parties with my friends, renegade parties, and we would DJ all night and do our events, and we started these events in Houston, Texas. Now, one of the things that I'd like to iterate is growing up, I was the only Afro-American DJ. When I come back to Houston and when I see the DJ culture, there's still no Afro-American DJs in the dance scene. I saw a flyer with Diesel Boy, AK-1200, and some dude calling himself Messiah, and Dara. Back in the day, I used to play with them. I was actually better than them because none of them scratch. And again, none of them are all Afro-American DJs. But then when you go over to the UK, the drum and bass scene is an Afro-American culture. But when you come over to the United States, we're basically shut out of our own music again. So that's how it is. This is how it is in Houston, Texas. And I'm just really telling it like it is. I didn't do it. I know I have the skills. I know I have the rep. I know I have everything to still compete with the best of the best because I was doing that over in Europe. This is why my girlfriend came up missing over in Europe, because I was actually doing what I was doing here, there. And what I mean by that is I was DJing. I never stopped. People had never seen really anything like me because I actually started to play different music other than drum and bass and house. I started to play more down-tempo, chill-out music. I've always played this kind of music, but I more or less collected it for myself. I worked 7 years at a record store, so my music knowledge has always been a bit extensive. I worked at a record store called Atomic Music for about 7 years here in Houston, Texas. And I moved to California, and then I moved to Romania. But anyway, back to the subject and what this video is about. Now, I really want you to understand what happened in my life, which changed my life, which I haven't had anybody in my life since this woman. It's been a very long time. It's been almost 5 years. I don't really think anything can make it easy to get over actually what took place. So I want you to really understand what took place. I'm going to do my best to recap everything that happened. Well, basically what happened was I was living in Romania. I went to Romania to file for diplomatic asylum against America. Yeah, the United States Federal Reserve Corporation, because of my stepbrother, because my stepfather, he started the Shrine of the Black Madonna, which I found out they are heavily into money laundering. I found some things around my mother's house that proved this to me. And when I found out, my life was threatened by them. And I realized that my mother was just a mark. A mark is someone that's targeted by a specific group or individuals. So I wrote the Romanian consulate what was going on, what happened. 2 weeks later, they send me a letter back that they can't do anything for me unless I get to Romania. So basically, to make a long story short, I packed my bags, didn't look back, didn't have enough money to get anywhere. They made sure they closed down every place I worked, any DJ gigs. This is Houston, Texas. The music scene is not that big, and especially if you're where I'm at. So if you understand the clubs are controlled by the cops. Bottom line, because the cops give the club owners the heads up when there are drug raids or drug busted. Honestly, in clubs, there are no clubs that don't pay cops off, because the cops actually let the drugs flow through the clubs. So everybody's in on it. I know, I grew up in the club scene since the age of 14. I know club owners. I know everything about how it works. I mean, I had club owners tell me when the cops would come and tell them, there's going to be narcs in the club. And the club owners would tell their friends that they would deal drugs because they get a cut of it, to not deal drugs that night. This is Texas. This is the club industry. This is how it works. This is what I learned growing up as a DJ. May piss some people off that I'm talking about it, but I don't care. Fuck you. So, anyway, to make a long story short, the corruption. So, I ended up being homeless for almost a year, bouncing around from job to job, just trying to make enough money to eat. After 2 months of being homeless on the streets of Houston, I made my way to California, which was much easier to be homeless and blend in. Things are set up a little bit more better for the unfortunate. So then I got a job in Mendocino, working. If you're in California, if you are from Mendocino, we all know what Mendocino is and what goes on there. I don't really need to get into it. Not going to. So, anyways, to make a long story short, things didn't work out in Mendocino. A cop ran my ID. I ended up homeless. The cops picked me up off the street and I stayed in jail for almost a month. After that month, I took all the money that I had, bought a ticket to Romania. When I went to Romania, they let me in. They didn't even stamp my passport. They were waiting for me. So then I started the process of trying to get asylum from the United States corporation, not the America. It's a difference. And all I got was red tape and the runaround because America was very heavily in bed with Romania. Now, I want you to really understand how heavily in bed Romania and America are in bed together. Now, if you have a family member that's in the military and they've gone to the Middle East, they go to Romania first. It's their stopping point. Now, let me tell you what I uncovered about the cartel because I knew people that worked at the consulate. I knew gypsies that owned five-star restaurants that had friends that were Marines and CIA intelligence guys. One of the things I'm about to reveal right now is I want you to understand that when my girlfriend came up missing, the U.S. consulate closed all doors to me. The only people that would talk to me about this were the Marines outside the consulate. They couldn't believe that no one inside the consulate would help me. They were actually shocked too that I had a stepbrother that was a Marine and I was in this situation. But the fact of the matter is, this is true. Now, another thing that I want you to understand is when these Marines go off to the Middle East and they're about to shoot or kill somebody, they like to have sex, maybe sex for their last time before they get killed. I guess this is somewhat considered their privilege, their right. So, Romanian women do have respect for themselves and, they're not just gonna, hey, boom, I'm gonna sleep with you, boom, 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 There are girls like that all over the world, but for the most part, Romanian women do not do this, regardless of what they've told you. Now, the easier way is the more business-like way, an agreement, money for sex. Now, I want you to understand that the U.S. government does this for its soldiers in Constanza, which a U.S. government base is in Constanza. The mayor of Constanza is the most dirtiest, most undercut female cartel motherfucker there is besides Nicu, Gauru, and all of them. They're all in it together. Constanza is a beach town. It's right on the sea. Import, export. So, the mayor has his hands in the military, the women, everything that goes on in Constanza. I mean, the mayor, you have to be mafia to become mayor. Bottom line. So, what I really want you to understand is this is what I uncovered. The U.S. and the sex trade with the soldiers and whatever else. So, I was DJing there for about 3.5 years before this happened. Let me help you understand that I DJ'd at Fashion TV, Club Space, These are all establishments belonging to Nicu Gauru and Livue Morano, the two heads of the female cartel in Romania. Nicu Gauru is actually also in bed with the triads. His nickname in Romania is the Claw. So I really want you to understand this is very real. And I uncovered some really truthful stuff. And right now in America, I can't even get any help to have this second surgery on my arm because I was attacked in Paris and left for dead because of what I was doing and what I was exposing. And I went to Paris after Romania. Now, my girlfriend came up missing the summer of when Michael Jackson died, to give you some time ratio of how long it's been. It was 2 months like prior to Michael Jackson dying that we had agreed to, do what we did. I got a job in Costanza on the seaside working in Mamaia for H2O at a place called Impaneta, which is actually also half owned by the mayor, who's also mafia, and owned by another guy named Take, who's a Freemason, part of the Paracelsus group, and also he trains Romanian police and Romanian soldiers how to fight. He's I think an 8th degree black belt. So my girlfriend Mihaela didn't show up. Hadn't heard from her. I'd been calling her. Her phone was actually disconnected. It was really strange. And I'll tell you what else is strange about it. She was with my child. And we were supposed to live on the seaside that summer and then go somewhere else. Leave Romania, I don't know. We didn't really care. Now, she was 23 years old, and I was the first man she'd ever been with. The first person to actually really love her and to show her the world, I guess. She had never left her little town. She had never even seen Bucharest. She's a very innocent, very sweet girl, very beautiful woman, very intelligent. She was actually studying to be a nurse in college. So, the summer of Michael Jackson's death, I was working at H2O, and the company Orange had sponsored the Duffy show, and I was opening up as a DJ for Duffy. I was the opening DJ for the show and the DJ for the after party. So basically she never showed up. Michael Jackson died. Duffy was crying on stage. Everybody was distraught. I couldn't believe it. It was just one hell of a weekend. So I'd never heard from her again. I just never heard from her again. The funny thing is, our phones were being tampered with when we were trying to call each other. She would call me, her phone would cut off. I would call her, her phone would cut off, or go straight to answering machine, and this happened all of the time. It was just really strange. And when we did meet, we would talk about this, and I don't know, because she would come into Bucharest. I'd pay for her train ticket to come and stay for a weekend or a few days. But after, I figured, okay, maybe she just doesn't want to talk to me. Maybe she didn't want to. Maybe she just wanted to break up with me. I looked into it. I actually contacted her friends in her hometown, which hadn't heard from her. They thought maybe she just took off and moved with me and told her father to fuck off. That's kind of what they thought. And then when they found out that wasn't the case, her friends started freaking out too. Because it just really didn't make any sense that she came up, just vanished. So, basically, I started asking around all the people that I knew about if they could help me track her down, find out what happened. And one of my good friends at the time was a guy. His father was head of Russian Secret Service and lived in Romania. And basically, to make a long story short, I had him look into a certain situation because an artist named Mike Diamonds was kind of fishing at me to kind of figure out if I knew anything. Well, let me tell you about Romanian men. Romanian men, a lot of them are very disrespectful to women. There's large groups of Romanian men that just actually go around and take women, rape them all night, and then take them to brothels to be sold. This is very common in Romania because the Romanian women are so beautiful and there's so many of them, and this happens all the time. Nobody does anything. And the gypsies and the brothels and all of that shit goes hand in hand with American tourists coming over and wanting to have sex with beautiful Romanian women, etc. It's sick. So basically, Mike tells me about him and Tom Boxer's trip to Russia. They drove from Romania, and how they got stopped at the border and Tom Boxer got held for about 6 to 7 days. He was suspected trafficking and espionage. Well, I do know Tom Boxer is a very well-trained hacker, ex-Romanian military and not talented. He pays for his songs. He rips other people's ideas off. He will even load a popular hit track and even mimic that track and call it his. I lived in the same house where his studio was when me and Mihaela were together. Okay? He caused me nothing but problems. He hated that I was staying in this house where his studio was. It's a very big house. The person that owned this house was Luca. This house was a 5-minute walk from the presidential palace in Romania. It's where the president lived. Luca's father was ex-Romanian Secret Service, Secret Police, whatever, which these are the people that were heavily involved in the trafficking of women and children, always have been. So, basically, you don't get a house in this area without being part of the government or very well off or very wealthy and knowing people. So I lived in this house for a year. I know everything about Tom Boxer and how dirty he is. So Mike Diamonds told me that they got stopped in Russia the same weekend Michael Jackson died. Same weekend. Why? I didn't know. Mike didn't tell me. He just asked me if I heard anything about it, blah, 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 blah. And I told him, no, I have my own problems to deal with. My girlfriend just came up missing. He had a strange look on his face when I said that. He didn't say anything more. He said he had to go. So, basically what I found out from my friend that is Russian intelligence, his father is through him, is basically the reason why they were stopped, because there was a girl with them when they came in. Which was I think a day or two or three prior to them leaving. And when they left, the girl was not with them. There was a body found of a mutilated woman not too far from the area where they had been. But to make a long story short, there was they couldn't identify the body because there are two identifying marks where you can identify a body. Basically, in Romania, Romanian women have a special thing on their arm where they all get shots when they're kids, and it leaves a specific mark. And then, of course, there's the face, the head. The arms and heads were missing from this mutilated body. So then, after I find this out, my friend that told me this, he was crying for when he told me. He couldn't. He didn't. And I knew. And basically what happened was these Romanians got paid off by somebody to do this and have it blamed on Russia. I do know the Russians are involved in the exportation of women. All of Eastern Europe is. I mean, beautiful women. But basically, I went to war with Tom Boxer. I went to war with the female cartel and exposing them because there was nothing I could do. Cops wouldn't do anything. This happens all the time. I got the information through other intelligence channels and asking my friend to check into it. So basically, to make a long story short, the Freemason organization, which is the Paracelsus group, I suspect got paid to make sure that no club owner, no one in the entertainment industry hires me in Romania. I lost my apartment. I lived in the snow. Everybody was kind of afraid to help me because I was actually exposing the female cartel, Nicu. If you know a Romanian, ask them who Nicu is. Ask them about Nicu. Every single Romanian knows. So during this time, when I just didn't care if I lived or died, even today I still don't. I live for truth, and when I die, I know where I'm going, and I couldn't let her death be in vain. I couldn't let all the innocent women and children sold for money let their deaths, let what happened to them be in vain, like so many people in this world. So what I did is started making videos when I was homeless and when I had any time to make videos, I started making videos about everything that I knew in front of these establishments, in front of Fashion TV, in front of Club Space, in front of the Police Commission, in front of the U.S. Consulate. I mean, I just started making videos. And I know you're not supposed to film a U.S. Consulate, but I did. I made videos in front of them. I even had the Romanian secret police, secret service come out. I'll be right back. Hold that thought. Okay, so I started making videos, and those videos are still on this channel today. Just check the date. All the experiences that I went through were all documented except for Paris. When I was in Paris, they made sure I didn't have a laptop. They made sure that that shit got broke. So my documentation in Paris isn't really extensive. Basically, when they made sure that I couldn't get a job anywhere in Romania, they were hoping that I would just, what is the word? Die in the snow in the winter after I lost my place. But the fact of the matter is, government agents and other people involved in the cartel and fighting the female cartel did their best to help me indirectly. And I did my best to help them and show them and point out everything that I knew what was going on in Romania. Still to this day, she has had no justice, and this happens all the time, people. Even in Syria right now, there's reports that Syrian children are being sold and traded on the underground black market. Even today, I mean, America's going in, blowing up countries and taking kids and selling them. The trade of children and women is rampant in this world. It is the most secret, untalked about thing in this world. It is the most ruthless, diabolical thing in this world. Now, I really would like to say something to the lady that I love. Don't know if you'll ever hear this. I don't know if you take the time to listen to these videos. I really haven't asked. But I really want you to understand that, this really messed me up. I haven't kissed anybody. I tried. Just didn't work. I really, I guess, needed or still healing. And that's why we're at a distance. And I really just thank you for believing in me. Thank you for allowing me to love you, to love someone, to love something. Because I never thought I would after this. The American government is heavily involved in the trade and exportation of women and kids. Bottom line. The world is involved. And until the world wakes up to this fact, until the world wakes up to speaking out about this and truthfully doing something about the modern day slave trade, we have a long way to go in this world, people. One of the most horrific things that I found out is that, did you know, if they take a woman, say she gets taken off the street, some assholes rape her all night, take her to a brothel. The brothel injects her with heroin, starts charging men to have sex for her, and then she's exported. And if she makes it through that sex trade or isn't sold into some harem or whatever, she makes it a few years where they make a lot of money off of her. She's harvested for organs on the black market. This is what they do to women and children, people. This is the thing that no one wants you to know what they're doing as I speak, even today. And this is the truth. I haven't found any videos about people really talking about this or their experience of what has taken place in their life, or them actually being truthfully affected by the cartel and having someone and something that they love so much just swept away, you know. So for the fallen, for the innocent, ladies, be careful. Watch your drinks. Don't go out to fucking bullshit clubs and drink. You don't meet good people there. You don't meet good men there. I mean, it's so easy to slip something into someone's drink and wait till they go to the bathroom and then off they go. This is what they do from Romania, Russia, America, China, Japan. Sorry to say, it's the truth. And to my angel that's watching over me, I love you, always will. Thank you for guiding me. And thank you for your time. I just, I wanted to touch on this subject because I hadn't really talked about the cartel in a long time. I made a video. That's where these videos started. It started making videos in front of their establishments. The American consulate in Bucharest. To expose what they are doing. To expose the truth. That's all it is. They can pay people as much money as they want not to work with me. Not to, give me any kind of social security. Any help to have a surgery that I need because I was attacked in Paris. Because I was still exposing them. What, you think the cartel isn't in Paris? You're heavily mistaken. The two people that run the cartel, it's Vatican, Italian, Mafia, Italy, then Paris. Paris is Rothschild world. Rothschilds own more land in Paris than anyone. Or excuse me, more land in France. If you've never seen the film 90 Days of Sodom, and you want to know what they do to kids, what the Nazis did to kids in France, what they still do to kids in secrecy in France, because that is Rothschild land. Hitler was a Rothschild. The Nazis came and fucked that country up, and they never left. Just like they came over to America during Operation Paperclip. They never left. Bottom line is NASA is a bunch of liars. They still got you thinking that they're flying the space shuttle into space up until a few years ago when they retired that bullshit, when they figured out we're gonna figure it out. What, the Nazis perfected magnetic vertical lift technology. Nazi belt, and that was during their time, and Nazi scientists came over to America to work at NASA, and you expect us to believe that's what they came up with, NASA? A space shuttle? When the Nazi bell was based on magnetic free energy? I mean, no cost to anyone, but NASA has been billing the American public trillions of dollars for a space program that is a blatant lie and a spit in the American's face. That's clear. These are facts. Go online, research the Nazi bell. There's people that have recreated this experiment themselves today because there's so much information about it. So you're telling me none of these Nazi scientists knew about this that work at NASA? And they've been flying a space shuttle into space for like 40, 50 years with these NASA Nazi scientists? And you're telling me that they don't know, and we got UFOs flying rampant in American space and throughout the world? Got people thinking that they're kidnapping people? Well, the Nazis still need to run experiments on people. Unsanctioned experiments. Evil experiments. Yes, this is what they do. The trade of women and children, the underground cartel. You don't get a receipt for a snatched body. You do get paid as black money. You do have to have a company to wash this black money to make it look legal. Companies like Fashion TV or NASA or black programs that are taking women and children from around the world, maybe to Dolce Bay underground base for secret Nazi experimentation. And you got so many people believing in UFOs and not believing in the truth, which is right in front of you if you study it. Yeah, maybe they did see aliens. Or maybe they thought they saw aliens. Or maybe they were brainwashed into thinking what they saw and don't know what the fuck is going on. Because the Nazis were king of brainwashing techniques. We have a little thing called MK Ultra, which the MK means mind control in German, like MK. MK Ultra. Look it up. Put the pieces together, people. Be safe, ladies. Don't trust these bullshit men for a second. You got that drink in your hand in the club? Drink it. Don't take your eyes off it. They're ruthless, from the United States to Japan to Russia to Romania. Notorious for it. They got it down to a science. We're in an economy crash. These motherfuckers are running rampant to make money off women and children. Wake up. Thank you for your time. Fuck you Nazis. Fuck you Luciferian Freemasons. And fuck you Beast. It's what it is. And I love telling these evil ass entities to fuck off because they're weak. And I want you to see, don't be afraid of them. I lost my fear a long time ago. After walking in the snow and you can't feel any limb in your body, and you think any minute you're going to drop, and there's something inside you that just pushes you to keep moving or you're going to freeze, you lose fear of all things. Quickly. This is my life story. I'm making these videos in case somebody want to make a book or a movie, because they sure as fuck won't let me write a book. They sure as fuck won't let me publish anything. Why? Listen to my videos. Maybe you'll understand. Peace.